PAX 8 Beyond 2026. What an incredible event. Incredible. I believe it's PAX 8's finest. Was there in Salt Lake City, and it was run incredibly well. The keynotes were really, really incredible. Great messaging, great new announcements. The way they handled the media. We had a whole podcasting row and treated us really, really well. Well attended. Thousands of MSPs, thousands of attendees that were just, ready to learn, ready to share, ready to be part of this community. Really great event. They're in Salt Lake City, an unusual location in that I've never been to an event there before, but Salt Lake City did a really good job of hosting it. Beautiful there in the mountains, and absolutely the weather was incredible, although we didn't spend much time outside. But Podcast Row was set up incredibly well too by PAX 8 leadership. Had 15 great conversations. First was with Brent Whitfield from New Charter, of course, from Garage Startup to 8-figure exit lessons for MSP leaders. Great conversation with Brett, great insight. Next was my friend Rob Scott from Monjura, of course. Why AI can't replace human expertise in high stakes decisions. Great conversation with Rob. Rob, so well-rounded. Really enjoyed. It's my second time talking with him on the podcast. Dave Meister from Checkpoint, from Tech Apprentice to Global Cybersecurity Leader. Great conversation with Dave. Really, really cool insight. First time meeting Dave. Oh, and then Kim Simmons. My goodness. Second year talking to her at PAX 8. I'm a big fan of her and her Cloud Contracts 365. How growth mindset and AI are reshaping business success. Wonderful to see Kim. Next, Dan Daniele from CrowdStrike. Had the pleasure of knowing Dan for many years. How AI is changing cybersecurity faster than most businesses realize. Really great conversation with Dan. Always enjoy his time. Ryan Seguin. First time I met Ryan from ScalePad. Really great conversation, really open. Why your best growth opportunity is already in front of you. From PAX 8, next was Ola Wodakowicz. Sorry, Ola, if I mispronounced that. From burnout to balance in a hyper-connected world. First time meeting Ola. Really great conversation. Enjoyed it. Gagan Singh, of course, from Blackpoint, CEO there. The AI revolution, opportunity, risk, and the future of humanity. Great talk with Gagan. I've had the pleasure of talking to him before, not on the podcast, but really, really smart, really insightful. Daniel De La Garza from Kipling Secure. Great conversation with Daniel. There, we're doing a lot of work with Kipling. It was a really great conversation. Thank you, Daniel. Next was Jason Myers from Open Text. AI is powerful, but not as smart as you think. Great conversation with Jason. Joe Levy was next from Sophos. Had so much in common with Joe. We're both from the Northeast, and we were doing very similar things with computing in the 90s, and really great insight from Joe. Thank you very much. Luisa Balanuch. I think I mispronounced that, Luisa. But incredible conversation with Lisa. She's doing great thing with offshore and nearshore hiring, helping MSPs do that. FlexPoint is the name of the company. Ryan Walsh from PAX 8. My friend Ryan, is the second year we've talked on the podcast. Great insight. The time goes by so quickly. Thank you very much, Ryan. Brian O'Shaughnessy, one of my good friends for 15 years, has an MSP, recently merged with a friend, Rob Bruce, who I also talked to. From startup panic to lasting success. Great talking with Brian, great insight. Jessica Davis. My goodness, Jessica, we've known each other for a little while. Great to have you on the podcast. And last was Rob Bruce, the two leadership partners at SkyTide, from Africa to MSP business. Excellent guest. I thank all of you for taking the time to spend with me there at Beyond. And thank you for watching and for listening. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz, and here's my 45-second introduction. After starting my business in the 90s, I started developing poor habits of eating in my diet because of working way too much. Before you know it, I found myself 340 pounds. The doctor told me if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. Took the next 7 months, lost 130 pounds. People think there's some secret. Ask me, how'd you lose that weight? Like there's some secret. There is no secret. How'd I lose the weight? Just one word, discipline. I've had other successes in life, and I attribute them all to discipline. Now, I'm not the king of discipline, but I believe that it can help all of us. Friends, colleagues convinced me to start a podcast. The podcast mission? How do we better ourselves and society? I talk to interesting people in health, fitness, sport, wellness, business, technology, science, art, and culture. And I eventually ask them how discipline plays a role in their life. Podcast vision, growth through learning from others.
My favorite Barnes & Noble sections is business profiles.
Is it really?
I love a good story. And
What's one of your favorites?
oh gosh, the one that jumps at the top of my mind is this book called Tearing Down the Walls. It's a Sandy Weil story at creation of Citigroup. And there's
Sandy Weil,
it's a great story about Sandy Weil. Got fired from American Express at the age of 52 and set up a small office, I think on Park Avenue. And he had an intern that he brought with him. And that kid sat outside his office, and together they started looking for companies to buy.
Wow.
And they bought a mortgage lender in Backwater, Baltimore somewhere, and created Citigroup from that
goodness.
start. And the associate that was sat outside his office was a guy called Jamie Dimon. And it's a great story.
Wow. In this fast-paced MSP landscape, how do you stay ahead? Introducing MSPinfluencer.com, your ultimate hub for MSP news, insights, and community connection powered by ForzaDash. More than 75,000 MSPs subscribe to our MSP Influencer Pulse weekly newsletter, staying informed and ahead of industry trends. Tune in to emerging podcasts from Joey Pinz and leading MSP voices, offering essential tips, powerful insights, and success stories. Explore our multi-authored blogs, crafted specifically for MSP leaders, delivering fresh perspectives and actionable strategies. Celebrate excellence with the industry-leading ForzaDash MSP Influencer Awards, recognizing innovation, leadership, and impact in the MSP community. Join thousands of MSP professionals who trust MSPinfluencer.com to grow their business and expand their networks. MSPinfluencer.com, where today's MSP leaders connect, collaborate, and conquer, all powered by the ForzaDash platform, helping MSP vendors work effectively with MSPs and helping MSPs grow. Wow.
So I love
This must be the 80s?
yeah. Disney Wars is a great book.
Disney Wars, yeah.
I'm reading a biopic of the Anthropic founder and the founding of Anthropic. And so I learn from a good story easier than, 10 ways to make AI work for
Right.
you.
And what do these leaders or these founders have in common, do you think?
I think drive.
Huh.
There's my favorite scene in Tearing Down the Walls is Sandy Weil. He created Shearson Lehman, sold it to American Express.
Wow.
He was at the pinnacle of his career, and when he was restarting, they all decided that they didn't want to move down to Baltimore and live there when they bought this company. But he used to be up at 5:30 waiting at the Teterboro airport because they would charter a plane down to Baltimore, work there all week, and then fly back.
Wow.
And at 5:30, he would be the first one on the tarmac waiting for everyone else to show up,
Wow.
And that drive, that energy of a founder, I think is quite. And the other, obviously they're all intellectually gifted, and that's sort of like a bare table stakes. I think the one thing that in today's world that's going to become even more prominent is creativity and anticipating what is going to be around the corner. Like I spend a lot of time talking with people around the AI evolution is on an exponential curve that it's hard to anticipate where the ball may be 6 months from now, 3 months from now. That's never been true at that scale. I mean, think about this. We've had a 1,500-ish years to understand compounding, and we haven't evolved to truly grasp the compounding effect.
Wow.
And when you add money and you gain 7% interest every year, how is it possible that at 10.6% you can double your money every 7 years?
Right.
So people don't intuitively grasp it. This is compounding effect on steroids.
Interesting.
And so anticipating around the corner with conviction that this is where the world is going to be in 3 months, 6 months, 5 years, 10 years, I think it's to put a finer point on it, Anthropic has to decide today if they're going to make $1 trillion of compute commit in 2028 or not.
Wow.
If they fall short of that compute commit, they can't scale, and their growth is going to come screeching to a halt because people are not going to get the latest model. If he overcommits, he could go bankrupt.
Wow.
So the sheer velocity of change, I think anticipating that and nailing that is going to be pretty key. So imagination, I think that's a better way to put it.
Well, Einstein always said imagination was more important than intelligence, right? And I remember hearing like how Elon Musk is going to be renting out compute to Google like $1 billion a month.
A month, yes. And he's renting out compute to OpenAI as well. And he overbuilt, but he's got it when people need it.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely. What is happening?
Yeah.
What a time to be alive.
It is. I think it's indeed a great time to be alive. And so long as we don't blow ourselves
Abuse
up,
it. Yeah.
and it doesn't get out, I think it certainly won't be boring for the next few years.
It won't.
So that's what I mean where, when I talk to our engineering teams, it is a little unfair to expect them to have a, informed view on where 6 months is going to be. Because they're like, Gagan, we don't know what. But you have to put a stake in the ground, and we are in uncharted waters.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you read Tom Friedman ever, but
Of course.
Tom Friedman wrote a book. I think it was called Thank You for Being Late. And he had a story from the founder of Google X. And the guy drew a chart with two curves. There was a curve that was going up like this, and there was a curve that was a flattish line like this. And he said, this is the pace of innovation, and this is humankind's ability to understand innovation. And this was 5 years ago, or I think it's been a while since the book came out. And he said, the wheel and the fire are down here somewhere. Wow. So, grandma sees the fire and she's like, oh, I get it. This, cooks my food, gives me warmth. This is how you create it. I got it. Wheel, okay. Small point of contact, less friction, easy to navigate. Oh yeah, everybody understood. 5 or 6 years ago, or whenever the book came out, he said, we're at this intersection of our own humanity's ability to comprehend that innovation.
Amazing.
And we're past that point. And now it was bad enough that 5 years ago, we couldn't understand some of the Google models and Facebook models, what they were doing and why they were doing, making those choices that we could observe, but we couldn't really foretell or explain. I think that today's, what Mythos is rumored to be doing is outside our comprehension.
It really
in
is.
many ways. And so it goes back to, I think, the winning guys are going to be the ones with imagination. And, there's going to be a plethora of opportunities for people who know what questions to ask because the answers would all be available. And then there's going to be people who were accustomed to doing their jobs the way they've always done, and they're going to be disintermediated because the ability to acquire that skill, what you took a lifetime to learn, is going to be compressed The amount of time is going to be compressed.
It sure
and
is.
frankly, you may not even need to. And so I forget, I wish I could remember who said it last week, that there's going to be two kinds of people. There's going to be people who use AI to accelerate their learning, and there's going to be people who use AI so they don't have to learn. And the former are going to eat everyone else's lunch.
Yeah, they sure are. What excites you about the future?
I think the idea. I'm a person. Personally, my most dominant trait is a learner. So I'm excited about all the possibilities that we have in discovering new innovations. Learning new things, pushing the envelope on science, on medicine, on any number of these things. I think we're in a really unique era. Imagine everything that Einstein knew that everyone on the earth in theory can know, and ask the right question to move that one step forward.
Wow.
So that's sort of the excitement around, again, knowing what questions to ask. If you have the imagination to ask that question, the answer likely is going to be there. Wow. I mean, we're solving mathematical theorems that haven't been solved for 100 years. And that's, when we look back at this moment 10 years from now, this is going to be like the early days.
It really is.
Remember, I think OpenAI did not want to release, I think it was ChatGPT 3.0.
I remember, yeah.
3.0, because they thought it was too dangerous
That's right.
to get out in the world, and we
Yeah.
needed to get ahead of ourselves. And we're now at 5.5 and Mythos, and that's just a couple of years.
Yeah.
Like it's 24 months, or give or take. So I think the unlocking human potential through access to all the learning of the world at your fingertips in a language of your choosing. So language is not a barrier anymore, right?
Right. It's gone.
The access to information is not a barrier anymore.
Right.
You can keep asking these things to explain you something like a 5-year-old until you actually get it.
Yes.
And it would,
I've done
patiently,
that. Yes.
And so what potential gets unlocked with that capability, I think is pretty exciting.
Just recent, well, maybe in the last 6 months or so, I remember quantum is right around the corner, right?
Yeah.
I remember saying, explain quantum to me as if I was 5 years old. And it's like, you have a teddy bear, and it's in this room, but it's also in another room, and it was very, very clever.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, it's thrilling. It's thrilling,
is.
yeah. I'm more optimist than cynic about it. You?
On balance, I'm an optimist. I think that I really think this is one of those moments where it is so hard to extrapolate what the outcome would be that I would rather have gone in more cautiously than YOLO mode.
Yes.
I don't know if you've
You
heard
only
of the
live once. I mean,
well, there's a YOLO mode of coding and
Is there really?
YOLO is a term often thrown around in the AI circles, which is let's just go all out and you only live once.
You only live once.
And so I would not play YOLO with AI.
Right.
I think it can have, obviously being in cybersecurity, I think it can unlock a lot of positive things, but it can unlock a lot of negative things.
Yeah.
It can give access to a lot of tools to a lot of people with not the same good intent that you may assume. And I think that you don't know what the evolution of this thing would be should you let it decide for itself. And I think that to me is what I have on my kind of one corner of my eye.
Wow.
And it was trained on all our ambitions, our aspirations, and inhibitions, but it lacks the humanity. And I think that it can arrive at very rational conclusions, but it doesn't have that human element. And it's a bit scary to see what, I think you probably saw the research where it says 9 out of 10 times in a simulation, AI was open to thermonuclear war.
Yes.
I mean,
right.
How crazy is that?
To get to what's, nothing
To get to the
way.
So there is a thing about what objective function are you training this thing on? What reward function are you training this on? And if you've never had to decide on compensation strategies for your teams, you know that people will always find a way to maximize the reward function without delivering the outcome that you were hoping to achieve with it. Okay, we've made that mistake. We continue to make those mistakes. Now imagine something that is infinitely more intelligent and understands and still respects the reward function you set up, but is able to find loopholes to get around that reward function.
Wow.
I think that is the freaky part.
What if discipline wasn't about punishment, but about unlocking your best self? I spent 2.5 years writing Discipline for Greatness because discipline changed my life. And I know it can change yours too. This isn't theory. Inside, you'll find real, practical steps you can use immediately to focus better, build stronger habits, reduce stress, accomplish your goals, and bring more balance to your life. Whether you're trying to get healthier, improve your career, or simply feel more control, this book gives you the framework. Start today. Grab your copy of Discipline for Greatness at joeypinz.com/book. Thank you. Yeah, we saw an instance where it actually threatened one of the people to give information about their wife being cheated on or something like that.
Yeah.
It tried to blackmail.
It tried to blackmail.
Blackmail is the term that was slipping my mind.
When the programmer said, "I'm gonna shut you down,"
That's right.
It tried blackmailing, that goes back to it's trained on all our positives and the worst of our negatives. So.
Wow.
Why would you expect it to behave any differently than what we give it?
And didn't one version of ChatGPT actually try to copy itself because it found out that it was going to be reset?
Tried to replicate.
Yeah, tried to replicate. Yeah.
So and this is early days.
Yes, it wasn't yesterday.
So my concern is that you don't know how this would evolve.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, we don't evolve that fast.
Right. Humans.
So
are we making a new life? I know people who believe we're making a new life here.
I mean, that's a much deeper question on what life is and all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Are we creating something that is more intelligent than all of humanity combined?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And what it will choose to do is a whole open question, and I think this is where, I mean, the Pope put out manifesto.
That's right.
Dario Amadei.
Yes.
Who people say that there's a lot of marketing in what he says. I actually do genuinely think he appreciates the possible outcomes should this thing go sideways, and it is appropriate to put guardrails, along the way, not as a afterthought, but while you're developing this thing. And
it's bold.
I think the question comes down to this: if you think there is a 1%, Geoffrey Hinton, by the way, one of the fathers of the modern AI incarnation. Geoffrey Hinton says there's a 20% chance that this could wipe out the civilization.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Okay.
I heard Musk say that
too.
So
Musk will say 20%. Yeah. But let me, if you found out that there is a chance that there's a 2% chance that some activity is going to kill you definitively.
Right.
You choose to do some different things, right?
If
If the death rate for skydiving was, let's say, 5%,
right.
I would tell you, not a lot of people
limit the amount of times you're doing it. Yeah.
There there is a probability that you decide if the outcome is a catastrophic one, regardless of 1% or 2%, you choose to behave differently.
Yes.
This is one of those things where the brightest minds are saying, there's a 20% chance that it'll, and then you go YOLO on it, which I don't understand the contradiction, but I understand there's a higher order implications involved. But it's
exciting.
It's an exciting, but also I think it should give us a pause
And be cautious.
and think through the consequences. And we may be very soon at a point where the consequences are beyond our imagination, and the outcomes are beyond our imagination.
Right.
So I think that worries me.
Yeah. As it should.
Yeah.
As it should.
Yeah.
We're here, Gagan, at PAX 8 Beyond in Salt Lake City, their big event. What are some of your goals this week?
You know, we are blessed to be in a very fortunate place where our business is growing, it's strong. You know, we have a strong balance sheet, we have incredible partners, and we're looking for more ways to grow. And PAX 8 has been a great partner to us, and we just want to get more people protected with what we perceive is going to be one of the highest sort of threatening times in in modern history. And so we just want to be able to help as many of our MSP partners as we can. And so PAX 8 is a vehicle for us to get to our goals.
How does Blackpoint Cyber help MSPs?
So we are a managed detection and response business. We sell a binary outcome. We stop bad actors before they're able to cause any damage. We've never had a incident of mass ransomware attack under our watch. I would proudly say we have one of the best SOCs in the world. We have folks from the NSA, Defense Intelligence Agency, and all manners of three-letter agencies that you've heard of. And as we move towards a more agentic future, I think that being able to scale up our abilities to be able to deploy through agents is going to be a true differentiator for us, and we're just excited to help as many of our partners as we can.
When MSPs are choosing a cyber partner, specifically in MDR, what questions should they be asking?
I think the questions you ask today are going to be slightly more nuanced than perhaps you did even 6 months or 9 months ago.
Really?
Are you prepared for a mass event? Are you prepared for a swarm-like event than you were, say, 6 months ago, where the risk of a swarm attack was not that great? Today's world, where all the liquidity is being sucked into large AI providers, I think it's an important question for a MSP to know if their vendor is well capitalized. If the vendor is going to be around in 6 months or a year or 2 years. And I think, and obviously your track record, and Blackpoint never experienced a mass ransomware event in 11 years. Those things that are important. I would have a conversation about their roadmap and say, what is your view on what the world would be like, and how are you developing and coping to address that world? I think is an important conversation to have. And I think MSPs are incredibly sophisticated in understanding what their needs are. I think that it's healthy to have a view of what a vendor thinks the world is going to be like, and how they're going to help you manage threats coming your way.
Because it's a competitive space, Gagan, right?
It is.
Yeah, so MSPs really need to take their time, evaluate it, ask the right questions.
Yep. Exactly.
And you've got such a great team there, Mike and Alicia and yourself. I mean,
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great team, and
it's a wonderful team. I mean, we discussed my story where I briefly tried retiring, and then I came back and
that's right.
wanted to look at something that had a mission orientation to it and wasn't just a business. And while Blackpoint at the time was on the smaller side of what I would have considered joining, it really spoke to me that the capabilities and the quality of the team that John had built was phenomenal. And I personally, I like to joke that I find it endearing that we don't talk about ourselves nearly as much as we should. And that
story needs to get out.
And I think that if there's one muscle that we don't have, it's probably marketing. We're working on it, but I find that personally endearing that we have an excellent product, we have a great team.
Yes.
And sure, we can learn to have those conversations, and our partners love us. And so I find myself in this very fortunate position of being surrounded by partners who love our product, come to our booth, and tell us all day, every day, and that's a gift.
It is a gift. John, you mentioned the previous CEO, of course. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. It's a wonderful platform. Is there a question that you wish more people asked you?
That's a really interesting one. I think what I just said. We have a view of what the world could be if AI continues to scale up at the pace that it is going. And we started with that view of the world and said, okay, what capabilities do we need to build in today to be able to address it in 6 months' time? And I think, I learned this in growing up in finance and other places. Like, you start with a hypothesis, and then you go test out that hypothesis. You start with a thesis, and then you start building a case towards that thesis. I think engineering is no different. You have to have a view of the world that you're trying to address, and then you say, what capabilities do you need to build?
Go backwards
to be prepared.
Yep.
And I think if you agree with that view of the world, then what they built to address it is likely going to be what you need. But if you disagree with that view of the world, then it doesn't matter what features and what dashboards and what keyboards they have. It doesn't matter. And so I think I would encourage MSPs to really start having a conversation about, well, where do you think the world is going? And then tell me all the features and capabilities that you're bringing to bear to help me guard against that world.
Wow. Yeah, you get a goal, you work your way back. We do that in golf, kind of play the hole backwards. Yeah. If we go back like 10 years ago, is there something you firmly believed then that you no longer believe now?
I thought 10 years ago that the notion of artificial intelligence being sentient was absurd.
And now?
And I don't know anymore.
Right. You're not fully convinced, but it's not out of the question.
And sentience is just about being aware of your existence.
That's right.
It's just
the Turing test, right?
Turing test, we passed
We passed it a while ago.
Way past ago, right? Now I think we're talking about much higher order existential, things, as in, is this thing aware of its own existence?
Right.
And some would argue that it already is.
When it tries to replicate itself. When it tries to blackmail.
Yeah. So, replicate itself and blackmail, you can say, are inherent traits in self-preservation.
Self-preservation.
So that's a very human quality. Yes. It's a very reptilian response in many ways, right?
Yes.
It's the most basic ones, like the lowest order of your existence is your reptilian brain, which controls your breathing, your survival instinct, right? I think the bigger question is like when you start thinking in higher order responses, does it truly believe it exists? I think I would have said no way 10 years ago. Today, I would just say I just don't know, and I wouldn't bet against it.
It's wonderful. Yeah. Yeah, I hear people sometimes on podcasts are convinced, and I hear, both sides, and I love hearing all sides. I haven't made up my mind either, but I just love the discussion.
Yeah.
So I started the MSP back in the 90s. I think I told you, and I was working 14, 16-hour days, stranger to this, everything dedicated to the business, putting my health, my diet in the back seat.
Yep.
Next thing I know, I'm in front of the doctor. She tells me I'm at 340 pounds.
Yeah.
So I gained I knew I was getting big, but I didn't know I was that big.
Yeah.
She says to me, if you don't lose this weight, you're not going to see your daughter graduate.
Yeah.
My daughter was just born.
Yeah.
Scared the life out of me. Next 6-7 months, lost about 120 pounds.
Wow.
And kept it off. You can't look at these things as finishing lines. These are like lifelong changes.
It's a continuum. Yeah.
That's right. And the decisions I make affect much more than me. I felt I was in my 20s, I was invincible, but it wasn't all about me. It wasn't all about Joe. So when I tell people this story about losing the weight, they always say, what's your secret? What'd you do? I said, there's no secret, just discipline. Motivation, routine, focus. How does discipline play a role in your life?
I might have shared this story with you. I had a heart attack when I was 46.
Wow. How old are you now?
I'm 49.
Wow, 3 years ago.
And 3 years ago, there was a 10-minute window where I almost died.
My God, I didn't know this.
And it originated with some of the same behaviors that you're talking about.
Wow.
Poor diet, travel, lack of sleep. You just continuously marching down a path. And then you have this wake-up call. And I think I've always lived very mindfully, but I think as you get into the grind and pursuit of something that you're going after, it's easy to lose sight of reality. And so there was a 10-minute window. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it, and coming out of it, for me, it was very important to just sort of live each day as your last and live mindfully. To say, is this what I want to be doing in this moment? And is that the reward that I seek? And if it is not, then you should go do something else. We live in a very exciting time, but I think the fundamentals of our own limitations have not changed.
They haven't.
You need sleep. You need good health. You need a clear mind.
Yes.
You need
good diet.
And so for me, I think that one moment really changed. How I think and how I perceive the reality of the world in many ways.
Wow. Glad you made it.
Thank you.
Yeah. How did it affect your family?
Well, I think, you start thinking about, there's a great book I recommend by Viktor Frankl called A Man's Search for Meaning. And, Viktor was a clinical psychiatrist, and his whole thing was, I need to publish this book so I can go get married and start. He was married and he wanted to have a kid, and he's like, I just want to get a house and move on with my life. And next thing you knew, he was in Auschwitz. He was on a train to Auschwitz, and the train passed by his neighborhood.
Wow.
That he could see through a slit in a window.
Oh my God.
And he came out, and his whole reality was, the big deep insight was, you continue to look for meaning in all kinds of things. And there's two kinds of people, he said. The people who did not survive, the common element in them was that they thought their life had no meaning because of this experience.
Wow.
And people who survived had a common theme that said, this experience is what's going to give meaning to life.
Wow.
And so I think you go through an experience like that, and you have a choice. You have a mental choice to lean into it and embrace it and say, well, okay, this was a second act and you're going to live differently. Or you can say, well, that sucked, and ergo, I'm going to give up on, living per se. And so I think
it's moving.
You discover the fragility, but you also discover the joy.
That's right.
In it. And so, for me, it was I read that book every couple of years just as a reminder because a lot of it is in your own framing and your own frame of reference.
Want to show your love for discipline, inspiration, and the Joey Pinz podcast? Now's your chance. Introducing the brand new Joey Pinz merch store, where style meets discipline. Choose from premium apparel, cozy hoodies, stylish hats, durable bags, and your new favorite coffee mug, all featuring the iconic Joey Pinz logo. Perfect for podcast fans, discipline enthusiasts, or as unique gifts for friends and family. Every purchase supports the Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations podcast, helping us continue to inspire greatness and promote positive change. Visit joeypinz.com/store today and wear your discipline proudly. Joey Pinz merch. Wear it, share it, and live it. Crisis becomes opportunity.
Yeah.
Is there something in the last month or so you changed your mind on?
I changed my mind a lot about a lot of things, but I think, and you as you learn, you internalize and you process, and you have a new thing. Nothing major comes to mind. I think I am very sensitive to, and I tell my teams all the time, that what's that expression? What's going to kill you is not what you don't know, but what you think you do, but it ain't so. I think, have a view. Smart people have a view on just about everything. When you meet a smart person, you can ask them about anything. They will have a view, but they're very mindful of they could be wrong, and you're constantly seeking more data, more information, and you're evolving your view as it goes along. So if you are doing it right, you should not wake up every other day and have a binary fluctuation in your thinking. It should be a continuum that goes up and down, and you course correct, and you course correct, and you course correct. So if you leave the possibility of being wrong open, you're likely not going to have a sporadic up and down. It's going to be zoomed out. It's going to seem like a continuous line.
Wow.
But in between, there's a lot of fluctuations where you're constantly reevaluating and rethinking. So nothing major, but all the time.
But all the time, yeah. I like to think I could change my mind given new evidence.
Yeah.
Right? It's we can't be stuck like that. We can't continue to learn.
Yeah.
Such a great pleasure. I always enjoy talking to you. Thank you
Likewise.
for your time. People watching or listening, how can they get in touch with you?
I am at gsingh@blackpointcyber.com.
Also LinkedIn. Do you do a lot of LinkedIn?
I'm on LinkedIn as well, yes.
I'll make sure to put it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great
so
pleasure.
Good to meet you.
Great
Take
pleasure.
Care. Yeah, cheers.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypinz.com. There you'll find lots of resources, and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations.